Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Radio YamatoCannon coming at you with an AMA. The LEC Finals Special. I don't even know if it's going to be an LEC Finals Special, but I'm assuming a lot of the questions are going to be about that. So let's jump into it. If you have any questions, please ask them on Discord, the YamatoCannon subreddit, or the Patreon, if you so desire. With that being said, let's jump right into it. But before, I like this look that I have, unironically, my gamer look. The hoodie, the Kenny hoodie, at least my hair is hidden. My hair is absurdly long. Look at this. What's happening here? Look at this. It's absurdly long, man. What am I supposed to do with this? I can open a wig business soon. But alright, it's all good. It's a very, very minor complaint. 2 questions from Barely Awesome Heretic. Have you played Valorant at all? Yes, it's quite fun, honestly. Maybe it's fun because it's new. I don't know how long it will last for me. My heart longs for League of Legends. League of Legends is experiencing a lot of bugs, honestly. It's lagging and the client just dodges me. I lost my promo the other day because I pressed play and then, this bar was just spinning around and I just didn't get into Champion Select and I lost. And I think over the span of 40 games, I think I dodged 9 times. And that's really crazy. And also the bug of me mentioning, what's it called? I mentioned on Twitter about how things are seen through Fog of War. This also drives me insane. And I think there's a lot of things that need to be fixed about the game. So, I don't know. And this kind of ties into your second question. As someone whose career is majority low, do you worry at all when other games or competitive scenes show up on the market? I am worried about things that can kill a game, right? It is very, very delicate. You break it in one shape or form. Right now, League of Legends is in a unique position where there is so much infrastructure and so much foundation at play, right? There's so many teams, there's so much backing, and I think, the pro players and their following still have a large commitment to the game. So I don't think it's going to be like one big mistake and then all of a sudden, League of Legends is over. No, I don't think so. I think, still, a lot of these issues that I mentioned need to be addressed and they need to be fixed, because I think in the long run, if they continue to go down that route, then maybe I need to think about, a different career. But I think a lot of the things that I've learned are applicable in other walks of life, and I am a person that really, really, I love pressure. I love the type of stress that puts me in a position where I need to survive. Like even now, I really put my heart into the whole content creation and making sure that the LEC product is as good as possible, and I basically made sure that I have a floor underneath the Riot Games carpet, because you don't know whenever it's going to get pulled up from under you. So for me, not worried at all, man. I'm a warrior. Tonton Wundil, hello Yamato. What is the most valuable thing that the esports scene taught you that you can apply in your everyday life? The only person that you can rely on in the end, and the only person and the only thing that you can make assumptions and set expectations for is yourself. There are certain things in life that you can control, and sometimes, there's been situations where, for example, now, I was fired from Vitality, and I'm fine with it, because they have the reasons. Obviously, I have reasons to be upset because the way it was handled wasn't ideal. But in the end, for me to assume that I would continue would be a mistake, right? You need to be kind of ready for everything, but at the same time, you need to just focus on the things that you have in your control, because otherwise you'll just go crazy. And this can be applied anywhere, right? Kazik4G, do you think that DRX has the ability, potential to beat the Chinese teams and win this year or next year? I am very excited about DRX because I think the way they are playing and the way they're getting advantages is through the sheer force of lane power. And I think with the way they've won many of their games in the regular season, I think it bodes well in terms of matching up. It's not that classic LCK Korean meta type style. They are more lane oriented, and I think with the player capacity here and the coach CV Max, I think they definitely have the potential to beat Chinese teams. I would put more money on Genji and DRX to beat them over T1. Foos Fine. Hey Yamato, what do you think are the main difference between Jankos and Selfmade, and what holds Selfmade back from overtaking the European jungle throne? So this is something that I honestly struggle with, especially when I'm not in a scrim environment. When I'm in a scrim environment and I am looking at the fine details of the jungle, then I would be able to have a more precise opinion. But knowing and practicing, it's just about jungling is a lot about precision in your decisions, and Jankos is just a tad bit more precise. And another thing that we need to respect is how long Jankos has been so goddamn good, because jungle is a role that changes super much. The whole jungle gets reworked year after year. A jungle item gets changed and all of a sudden it's tank meta, and Jankos has gone through all of it and done goddamn good. And this is what puts Jankos above the history, the legacy, the reputation that Jankos has built up. And this is something, you know, can Selfmade stand the test of time? This is his first split on a team where he can definitely, you know, show up big. He's not like pulling poor players across the finish line any longer. He is in a position to do super well, and we'll just have to wait and see with time. But the way I would describe it is, as I said, you know, Jankos is just a little bit more precise in his decision making. Selfmade tends to take bigger risks sometimes, but I'm a big fan of Selfmade Rek'Sai. Aussie King of Kings 11. After watching Electronica video, I wanted to give you props because your suit in the shower scene made me actually LOL. How does making a collaboration video like that work? Is it all scripted? You just do your parts, or did you record yourself doing the whole song and took parts they wanted? Well, we had Margot, which is, I don't know her exact title, but she does all of these crazy videos. And there was, you know, everyone's involved in some shape or form. And she gave us instructions, and then in some scenarios she gave us some leeway for the shower and suit in the shower scene. That's something that I just did upon myself and sent it in, and they loved it and they took it. You kind of, you know, especially in such a scenario, it's a bit more difficult because she made like a super big Word document with instructions for every single scene for everyone, and also with instructions of, you know, adding our own charm to it. And this is how we did it. I would give a lot of credit to their video editor. Caps is soon bald, so do you have any beef with Nemesis?
If Nemesis played better Akali, Fnatic would have won against G2. That's why you don't have a coaching job anymore. Sucks.
So Nemesis, you know, the video posted, you know, it is whatever. You know, he's streaming. A bit is taken off the stream. He wants to make a little joke, you know, to make people laugh and get a bit of clickbait, and this is what gives you a dopamine rush. You know, that's all good. I don't mind. You know, players are very some players are very fragile when it comes to their gameplay, because this is, of course, you know, their livelihood. This is what they put all of their effort into it, and of course a big part of your personality when someone attacks the way you play. In some cases it can be an attack on their persona as well, because, you know, that's what they, you know, identify as, you know. So in this case, you know, I mentioned that I said at some point in the stream that if Nemesis played Akali better, then Fnatic could beat G2. So if you take a look back at the games, there was many mistakes that Nemesis did in later fights when he was a very strong and fed Akali. And at the time, Akali was a absurdly broken champion. You know, Nemesis did fine in lane. You know, he did good in lane against Caps. Caps was honestly choking. You know, he was choking. And in those fights, there were some fights that could have been the deciding fight that took the game, and if he played those better, they could win. And the series was very close. So maybe if someone else also played better, they could also win. But in the end, the big thing that stood out to me was how Nemesis specifically played Akali at the time where Akali was absurdly OP. And on top of that, his Silas game was also quite poor. So with that in mind, I think my criticism is fair. Sometimes I'm in a position where I'm working in the capacity of an analyst and I need to critique players and point out strengths and weaknesses. And this is a part of the job. Some players are going to be upset, and that's okay. And I don't mind him jabbing back at me like that, no problem. I don't take it personal. And I don't even know if he's offended, because I don't think he is. I don't think he cares, honestly. So yeah, no beef. Dragon Apps asks, where do you think Doublelift will be playing next split, and what are the implications for Team Liquid? Well, honestly, Team Liquid is a team that won 4 championships in a row. They got 9th place now, and I don't know if the rumors are true, but let's pretend they are. I would trust the management of Team Liquid to make the right decisions. I think Team Liquid is going to bounce back, and I think summer is going to be very, very different for Team Liquid. For Doublelift, honestly, he is a very, very strong voice, and can give a team a lot of direction. And I wonder if Doublelift Ignar would be, the deadly combination. Because I'm thinking from this, no, I'm not thinking from a practical point of view. I don't know what the politics are of all the teams or why someone would do something else. But I feel like FlyQuest would get the biggest upgrade with a Doublelift in the picture. I wasn't too impressed with Wild Turtle throughout the season. I think Ignar and Power of Evil did most of the heavy lifting. Throw in a better top laner, and maybe you have a team that can compete against C9, or maybe not, because C9 is just stomping everyone, so who knows. Norbilius, how would you rate G2 compared to Genji, FPX or IG right now? Well, it's difficult. It is very difficult, because G2 in the end haven't been playing against crazy good competition. Genji is a strange one, because it's just so weird with the top teams of LCK that sometimes they drop series against teams that are worse in such an absurd fashion. And I felt like LCK couldn't really figure out how they wanted to draft. It felt like some games were still won by draft very late into the season, while the LEC, the meta kind of settled after week 6, and teams figured out what was OP and what needed to be picked, and there were some slight adaptations and some slight nuances, but not as harsh as in the early weeks of the LEC, when teams were like, this draft is way better, GG, go next. So it's very weird to rate Genji, because sometimes they have games where they invade you here, they take over the game, and they go. But in the end, I think I can leave you with the fact that G2, honestly, this Best of 5 against Fnatic showed some of the most beautiful League of Legends I've seen all year long. So that makes me super, super excited. And the last time I saw G2 perform like this is when I called them as MSI winners, and they turned out to win MSI. I predicted that 1.5 months before they played MSI finals, and it happened. And this gives me serious vibes in that direction too. China is also really, really tough, because IG get away with really strange things in draft. Really, really strange things. Like they play in a very, very unique way, where they draft in a way where they know that their solo laners are better than the opposition, and they win a lot of games because their solo laners are better than the opposition. And I feel like IG as a team is a team that matches up very good against G2, because this puts G2 at an individual disadvantage, and that's very, very rare for any team. But there are some teams that rely more heavily on teamwork, and that's an FPX. And that's why, FPX matchup wise against IG in the past have had a lot of success. And I think now G2, with them figuring out how to play 2v2 mid more with Perks and Jankos, I think they would match up against FPX way better than they did last year, because it's such a key thing to do. And I think IG, it all comes down to how well Rookie and the Shy can play, because I am not a believer in Puff. I think it's a downgrade from Jackie Love. And I notice now, as I'm discussing these things, I can go deeper and deeper into the hole. And I would say that out of these teams, I think IG would be the toughest team for G2 to beat. But in the end, maybe they could see a flaw in the way Puff plays and maybe punish him, and maybe G2 could adapt somehow, because G2 does just that. They adapt to their opposition. I thought they couldn't adapt to Fnatic coming into this finals, and they did. I feel like G2 with time, preparation-wise, is on point. When they have time and they have, you know, the right mindset towards the preparation, G2 becomes super dangerous. And I think if G2 had a month to prepare for any of these teams, that would just bring forth a different shape of G2. While these other teams are defined in the way they play, G2 is just a chameleon. And I think it is all about G2's practice and G2's preparation. And I think G2 is the team that have shown that they can fix their problems and adapt to an enemy better than any team I've seen in a long time. Equal assistance. What do you think of Top Esports and their gameplay after Jackie Love joined? Honestly, Jackie Love joining made Karsa better, and that's crazy, because Karsa has been crazy inconsistent. Knight has been crazy inconsistent. Their highs are... their lows are... And now the last games that they played, you know, the last games we saw, the game against FPX most recently was magnifique. These are the type of games that make you think, oh, Knight could be the best mid laner in the world, you know? And then he has games where it's like, oh, why are people saying that he's the best mid laner in the world? But this is kind of, you know? So my point is, Jackie Love, if he's the element of consistency, because I heard interviews and murmurs of him being the shot caller, maybe this is what Top Esports was missing. I definitely see Top Esports as a contender for the LPL title. I don't think their scoreline should confuse anyone, because Jackie Love, no matter what you think about him getting caught at the World Championships and so forth, his mechanical skill is insane. And he brought IG to the World Championship almost by himself. And at the World Championship, IG, Rookie and the Shy were the best performance. The Shy had a very rough series against FPX in the end, where he got caught with Kale over and over. But Jackie Love got caught a lot too, and still, Jackie Love, we shouldn't forget how insane of a player he is. And it turns out he's shot calling too. So, you know, what a sick team we have here at Top Esports. Oh no, nay. Oh no, NA. Yamato coming to NA, TSM, or TL? Who knows? Poop89. Hey Yamato, I'm the TSM GM and I have a 2020 summer and 2021 spring contract for 500k you're gonna sign. So I know people are very curious, you know, like I am in conversation. The only thing I can disclose is I am in conversation with a lot of teams coming into summer for a coaching job. But me answering such a question puts me in such a terrible position. So I just want to answer one of those questions once. I am not going to ever do it. Okay? I'm not going to answer a question like this because it just is strategically bad. Listen asks, do you think that Mad Lions still would come in third place if G2 would have won their first best of 5 against them? So the question you're asking is if Mad Lions would beat Origin. And I think yes. I think yes, but it would be very close. The key thing about Mad Lions is that Fnatic laid out the recipe on how to beat them. And if OG got to play against Mad Lions after that Fnatic series, then maybe. But maybe in a world where G2 beats Mad Lions convincingly, maybe they lay out the recipe for how to beat Mad Lions. Because the way you beat Mad Lions is you recognize that their top laner is a dirty intel. And that Humanoid doesn't have the biggest champion pool, and that you need to ban out all of the key champions from the bottom, and this is how you attack them. And this is something Fnatic showed, and it worked, you know? It definitely worked. Not a Boomer asks, Hey Yamato, who are the top 5 teams in the world right now? You can put them in any order or not if you want. Without order, I would say IG, FPX, JDG, G2, and top Esports. I think these are the top 5 teams in the world right now. And then if someone told me, but Genji belonged there, then I would say, yeah, maybe. But maybe, just maybe. LCK has been very weird, this split. Very weird. There's been some disgusting games, some great games. It's hard to judge. Dragon X belongs there. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I'm more convinced by the other 5. C9 belongs there. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not so sold because I think C9 plays fantastically like a team. I think Sven and Vulcan, already at the World Championship showed that he's a great player. With Sven looks insane. Blabber and Niski have great cooperation, and C9 have really figured out how they want to play together, but their drafts are very, very greedy. They get away with a lot in NA that they wouldn't get away with globally, and also historically a lot of their players haven't been good against the cream of the crop. When Niski played against Caps last year, I know that you can improve, and Niski has improved. Bippo, when he played against Licorice, smashed his face in. I know it's been some time, but how much can a player improve over a split? We have to be reasonable. Even in the world where C9 individually improve insanely much, I don't think that's enough to make them like cream of the crop players individually. Because in the end, the team play aspect, these are the things that the other teams have boiled down, and on top of that, they have really, really good mechanical skill. Cabo said as well when he played against Licorice that he didn't really feel any type of pressure. He didn't feel anything. And it's just hard for me to believe a world where Niski and Licorice like improve so drastically coming into the World Championship. Even last year, you know, Jankos came in as the MVP and he went all the way to the World Finals, and when he played against the best of the best junglers, he even struggled. What's gonna happen then to Blabber when he plays against the best of the best junglers? I know that there's holes in my arguments, that there is a world where C9 improves so drastically, because I want to give them props there, that they have improved. Like Niski is in his best form. You know, he said that he studied Doinby and it shows, you know? Licorice, weak side top laner, was crazy good regionally. But I just struggle to put my mind in a place where like I don't even have access to ProView, so I can't like go deep into it, but I think individually they would just be outgunned, heavily outgunned, because NA honestly had one of the worst competitive splits in a long time. We like to meme about North America, but this was a bad one. Okay, that's been a lot of questions. I leave you guys with a riddle. Who is handsome and crazy good at Valorant and cancels his videos abruptly?